tracks back up Asbury Avenue, back that way to that side of town. That's where all the jazz clubs were at.
Oh, okay.
We had a lot of the people that lived here that would cross the tracks and go to the jazz clubs to party.
See, this is the bad part about having you on the show. We're not anywhere near the village people yet. We're like 2/3 of the way through the show. We're speaking with Felipe Rose, founding member of the Village People. So there was music in your house, I'm guessing, right?
Endless.
So what were you listening to then as a teen and all those?
When I was 7 and 8, we had people that would come from the clubs with my to party at my mom's house. Mocha Santa Maria,
Really?
Bobby Capomi, Silva, Carmen Miranda, Hugh O'Brien, people that.
I love the name of that.
O'Brien.
Hugh O'Brien, all right.
Right. But it was, the melting pot of New York, which was salsa music, Latin music, was really the influence of jazz, and then Afro-Cuban. So many musicians were always at the house. I was always under the table drinking the liquor.
Hey! Well, you were 9. It was okay. So
Passed out by midnight.
Oh, goodness. Felipe, so Felipe Rose again, ladies and gentlemen, just tuning in. So what was the first musical thing you did? First time somebody paid you to sing and play? Do you
I
remember?
was with a dance company first, and then we were at Lincoln Center, and it was the reviews.
Oh, man, you
newspaper
started that very high end. I wanted some story about you in some sleazy bar somewhere. You're telling me about Lincoln Center.
Yeah, I was 18, so that I realized that
So good.
I actually had, there was hope for me as an artist. And then I started taking singing lessons.
It's
and faithful
vinaigrette.
nights
It has
in the village where I met
feta cheese, chicken,
my ex-producer.
arugula.
The way you say it doesn't sound like it was really.
Well, it was very bizarre, ladies and gentlemen, because here I am, I'm 19 years old, 20, and he walks over to the club and says, in his French accent, and Jacques Morelli and the producer wants to do something with you. And I said, no. And then, of course, he was serious. He was saying, I want to put a concept. Because in the early 70s, mid-70s, disco music was in the urban clubs in New York City, in the black clubs, gay discotheques, and so people were dressing up crazy during that time. And you could liberate yourself by dressing up as Batman or whatever. And of course, I decided to use my heritage and dress in my native gear. As I dress now.
When he approached you, you weren't dressed like that?
I was dressed, got long hair, braided.
So, the strange thing to me, though, is that I can understand, and I'm being serious about this, the way that it was put together with the Village People, but what made him think a Native American fit that mold? Because it was, it was kind of, if you don't mind my saying, it was kind of a gay fantasy kind of thing with the motorcycle guy, the construction worker, and the cop and all this.
Well, his birthday was on the 4th of July. So he had loved America. And coming to America, he had a group that had a song, a female disco group called the Ritchie Family. And they had a song called Best Disco in Town. And he was looking for another concept group. And it was when he saw me in the clubs, dressed up, and possibly that night saw someone walk by, a cowboy hat. And so it was, when he told me about the concept, I thought it was a really silly idea.
Well, sure.
I didn't think that. I said, no, this is not going to fly. But he was looking at our American male stereotypes.
Yes.
And of course, his concept was to put a group together, and he wrote songs to celebrate many of the gay lifestyles in cities like Fire Island, San Francisco, Hollywood, the Village. But then when Casablanca Records signed the group with the late Neil Bogart, it was the way they marketed the group. And Middle America just went crazy.
And yes, for the listeners, there is a relationship between the name Bogart and Casablanca Records. For people who were wondering, yes, it's the same family. But you know what, and I have to say this in all honesty, the first time I heard Macho Man was out of a jukebox at a place up here in Seabright called the Driftwood. And my band was playing there, and they had a jukebox in the place, and Macho Man comes on, and it was a laugh at first. Everyone's laughing. You didn't hear it.
We laughed too.
I bet you did, but it was really well recorded. And I'm not just saying it because you're sitting here at my piano bar, but it was really well recorded. Were you aware of that in the sense that maybe we're onto something here musically, that just musically alone, this sounds pretty darn good?
I think that Gloria probably will attest to this later when you speak with her, but music then, during the disco era, there wasn't programming with Pro Tools like you have today. There was real violins, horn sections, so the music that our ex-producer, what they wrote and what they produced, was actually layered like a cake, one layer after another, and highly orchestrated, and very well mixed.
Yeah, really
so, yeah, and then of course Macho Man came out on AM radio. And that was the first time I heard it.
Here we are.
And then I heard it and I just couldn't believe that. And that also was an answer, again, everything was serendipitous, that he would write a song to proclaim and so for men to gather back their maleness because of the women's rights movement. Because in the late 70s there was so much going on with gay liberation, gay rights, women's rights, and he wanted to do a song that encourage men's strength. And so Macho Man, Will Jackson is my favorite song.
Well, I wouldn't blame you. So we're speaking again with Felipe Rose from the Village People. And so YMCA, and so tell us about where that came from.
That was a recording session we were having at Sigma Sounds. And then we went downtown to 21st Street to do overlay vocals and harmonies, and so we had a lunch break. And so on 23rd Street, the Bernie YMCA, he comes back after lunch, again in the French accent. Qu'est-ce que c'est, chérie? EMCA. And we looked at him like, what are you talking about? He goes, what is, YMCA? And then I think someone in the room said, it's Young Men's Christian Association.
Right.
And he just looked at us and he said, well, we're going to write a song called Young Men, da 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 da. Young Men, we're like looking at it like, no. And they wrote that, when our ex-lead singer, they wrote that in 10 minutes.
Really? I thought it was about 8.5.
But that was a fuller song. It was one more song we needed to finish the album.
Is that right?
And when they sent it to California, to Casablanca Records, it was Neil Bogart. They heard the last cut.
Okay.
And said, this is a hit.
So when did people start connecting a dance to that? Putting their arms over their head and spelling it out. Do you have any idea how that took
Yeah, I remember vividly. I can remember.
I don't know why I'm saying do you remember. It's like, no,
I remember
Tim, I know you what you're talking about.
It was on American Bandstand.
Really?
With Dick Clark. And many of us that saw, watched American Bandstand. He would sit in the audience with the kids.
Yeah, sure.
And prior to singing the song, he said, I have something I want to show you. And it was on camera. And they played the chorus, and all the kids got up, and they did the...
So it came out of that?
Of course,
we're on radio.
We stole it.
Okay, I hope
We
so.
gave them credit, but we applied it to the song.
Well,
And it's like, what arena, sports venue, wedding, bar mitzvah, party that you don't go to, and they play YMCA, and people just
now
jump out.
Felipe, so you heard me speaking before about Holiday Express, right? You know where I'm going. So we're in the bus coming back, and I said to the people, we need something that everybody can dance to at our shows. And YMCA had come on the radio in the bus. So on the way home, I rewrote the lyrics to YMCA and made it N-O-E-L. And a whole bunch of Santa stuff. Yeah. N-O-E-L. N-O-E-L. And we started with Macho Man became Santa Claus. Everybody wants to be like, I want to be like Santa Claus. It was horrible. Anyway, But it wasn't horrible because we actually made it to number 24 with that. But I've never met you at this point. So we were being honored along with Deborah Harry by the Monmouth Arts Council, a wonderful group right in this building. We're sitting right over one of those booths you were pointing at on the radio.
You were on the stage.
Well, eventually we were on the stage. And so I said to you, hey, have you ever heard that NOEL version of YMCA? And you said, oh, I hate that. And I
said, are you kidding? I hate that song.
And I said, do you know who wrote it? And he goes, no. And I said, I did.
And I said, you owe me money.
And I said, we've already paid. We paid a lot of money to you guys, and you deserve it. I mean, it actually was great for us because that got us on the Rockefeller Center tree light on NBC. And we performed it on that, and I think we can send you another check.
I remember.
Your wife's picking that up too.
No, you're picking it up.
Oh, jeez. This is a one-way street here, Felipe.
I'm buying my drinks.
Oh, well, that could add up.
I want to wish my graphic artist, Mamo Queen, Estella Crispo, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
You know, usually the happy birthdays are $25. I'm just saying. I'm trying to get it back little bit by little bit. So and it's an amazing, you know what I think is wonderful, and I am going to speak to Gloria about this, embracing that iconic thing that you had to have at some point gotten sick of. That it's just the never ending, I'm doing this song for the 4 trillionth time. How is it that you embrace it? And was there like a turning point of, no, this is never going away and make the best, or how does it go?
I'm answering it from my perspective, in my own lens, that no two audiences anywhere in the world, we could be here tonight and performing, and we'll fly to Europe. No two audiences are ever alike. Everyone and every audience member, they bring energy, and what we give them, they give back, and so it's not old. And I think also the fact that we move around a lot. We constantly are never in one place.
Yeah.
So if we were sitting in an office singing the same song, it'd get a little tired.
You've seen my act. Well, one of the great things is that you said you're going to come to a Holiday Express show, which we are really excited about, and I just think it's magical that you're absolutely right, because I work in arenas. I announce college basketball games, and boy, YMCA pops up all the time, and I think it's a wonderful thing, and I think you would be the last one because you're very self-effacing, and I appreciate that about you. But I think you did an incredible amount for gay relations in this country by what became initially maybe just this fun little pop icon, comic book thing almost, that became more serious, and you got people's attention. People started paying attention to things that maybe they hadn't paid attention to before. And we want to speak a little bit about that, about gay marriage and where we are now.
I'm an ordained minister, so I just married, I think my 7th couple, my 2nd same-sex marriage couple, and 5 others. What I give to the ceremony is one thing, but then what they bring back and what they give us as ordained ministers in their vows is where it becomes powerful. But in what you were saying about village people intentionally did not set out, we didn't set out to really liberate anyone.
Right.
It was just basically, we were at the right place at the right time with the changing of history in this country, with so many things that were happening in this country, with women's rights, gay rights, and here we are 35 years later. And we're still having the same problems. It's just that but we are. But at least, if anything, I can honestly say that if we were the tip of the iceberg, then that's a pretty good frosting on the cake.
Well, I don't know where those metaphors were going, but all right, I'm with you. So, I do want to ask you one other thing. What is your position about the Washington Redskins and the issue, just in general, about how people speak of Native Americans?
I see both sides of the conversation in the sense that why wait so long now to have that conversation about changing the name? The sports team could have addressed it. I see that maybe they were coming from an empowerment point of view, and today the internet is empowering many Native Americans and rights groups. And it may seem derogatory, the Redskins or the Atlanta Braves, like I get it, but I also can see the conversation turning to a teachable moment where if everyone has dialogue about why, and everyone sit at the table, maybe we'll find out why. I really don't have the answer to that. I just feel that there really should be some dialogue on that.
I think you're absolutely right. At least everyone's speaking about it. Because I remember, when Stanford University, a really esteemed university, when they changed their name from the Stanford Indians to the Stanford Cardinal. I don't know why they went with that. Not Cardinals, it's the color. And they made their mascot's a tree. So it's another conversation altogether. But you can see that there was movement 15, 20 years ago in this direction, but the professional teams wouldn't budge. The logo for the Cleveland Indians, that huge smile on the Native American, I think is equally
I
as
want
effective.
it. I don't, anything that's like, even the hockey, Canadian hockey team with the big face of the Native Indian, black, the yellow feathers and all that. I mean, again,
Chicago Black.
it's really, I think that it's a moment where maybe it should have been addressed. When you look at, to change something like that, the millions of dollars that it will take to change the brand. So this is where
the heck with them. They make $100 billion in the National Football League.
But,
I should worry about the National Football League.
I'm Switzerland. I'm like neutral.
I coach cross country. I mean, there's like 15 kids in their underwear out there running around. You don't worry about these people. So, Felipe, I understand you have a new recording though before we go. Well, tell us about it.
We have a new single out. It's on iTunes. It's called Let's Go Back to the Dance Floor.
All right.
We were doing a fundraiser with KC. Harry Wayne KC, KC and the Sunshine Man. See, Gloria Gaynor, Village People, and KC, we all work together a lot. We work with each other, and we do also charity work. And it was last year where we were showing up, doing a fundraiser for Adult Needs Center, and Casey was humming this song, and we said, well, what is it? And he started singing it for us, and he said, if I write it, would you sing it? And the guys were really not saying much, but I kept saying, if you write it, we'll sing it, and we wrote it.
More thanks to Felipe Rose and the Village People for being with us. Loaded up on the slaughter and I'm sure we'll have one good. It's still my favorite night, and oh yeah, it's still my favorite night, and oh yeah, and thank you. Felipe Rose, everybody.
Thank you. That's $5.